Hi, Hari, how are you?
I'm so good. It's so good to see you.
Likewise, thank you so much
Thank you
for,
for being with us today and coming on our Tuesday Wisdom Talk.
well, I'm very humbled and honored that you would ask me to be here. So, hi to all of you. Thank you so much for having me today.
Of
I'm excited.
course.
Yes, excited
So,
to share whatever you'd like to ask me or anything. Hmm.
yeah, well, we probably could talk for many, many, many hours, but today I'd love for you to just start with giving us a little snippet of your background and I really love your history with horses and your background in athletics because I think that'll really give us a insight into who you are. So can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, as far as horses go, I got my first pony when I was 5 years old as a Christmas present, and so I don't know if my mom and dad knew what they were starting at that point in time because it became a huge part of my life. And for those of you who know me, one of my greatest teachers and soul companions was my horse, Little Miss. You can see her kind of in the background on the wall. She lived. I rescued her. I was 13. She was a year old. And she lived to the ripe old age of 36 and crossed over in 2017. And of course, needless to say, when you've had a 35 relationship, your relationship with any being, it's a profound shift when they decide it's time to cross over. But she was, I credit her as my greatest teacher in life. She taught me so much about myself. And for those of you who know about horses, they are very intuitive. And now, just now, they are starting to become in more in mainstream equine therapy and how powerful they are. They're such mirrors of truth. And you can't BS a horse. I mean, they just can cut right through. And she was just such a profound mirror for me. I didn't realize it for many years until all of a sudden I kind of grew up and was like, oh, she's trying to tell me something. And so as a writer, I've been documenting for years all of the lessons that she's been teaching me. And I'm excited to say that my first book of probably four of a series of our life together is going to come out this year called The Ride of Our Life. So that's the horse background that I have. Horses are just, it's been a big shift without her in the physical body, but she's very connected to me in spirit and guides me every day. And so, I think one of the biggest lessons she's taught me since she's crossed over is that bodies may die, but love and souls never do. And the form just changes. And so that's the most important message from her. And by the way, yesterday was her birthday, her earthly birthday. She would have been
I saw
39.
that.
Yeah.
I saw that. It's so beautiful. And I love that message.
Yeah.
That is really,
Hmm.
really profound. Yeah.
Yeah. There's just, and she sends me signs all the time. Like yesterday, I was going for my regular walk in the Santa Monica Canyon, and out of the blue, there's a birthday balloon attached to a fence. There was nobody around, and I just had to chuckle. I'm like, I know it's your birthday, because I was actually walking with intention with her yesterday. I put music on that reminds me of her, and there she was. She's like, it's my birthday. Anyway, so that's my history with horses. And but in regards to what I do as a profession, I'm an exercise physiologist, not psychologist, although a lot of psychology.
I apologize.
It's okay.
Physiologist. Okay.
Physiologist. So I basically have studied the physiology of the body. My degree's in sports medicine. I went to Pepperdine many years ago, and but there's a lot of psychology when you're dealing with human beings. Obviously, health issues. Um, you can't separate, our thoughts, our beliefs, our emotions and our spirituality from our physical being. Our physical body is just a manifestation of all that we think, all that we feel. And so as an exercise physiologist, basically, people aren't always familiar with that. Is that like a physical therapist? No, physical therapist treats injuries. As an exercise physiologist, like I say, I'm like the liaison between the fitness community and the medical community. So basically, my background qualifies me to design exercise programs with high risk people who have health issues like heart disease, diabetes, obesity, osteoporosis, you name it. So I work in tandem with physical therapists. Like if after their injuries are, rehab, then they bring them to me, and then we design a safe and effective exercise program that is, realistic to one's life and what they really want to do. And my whole passion has always been making exercise and movement, educating about the body and making it fun, making it enjoyable. A lot of times people have this thing that exercise is, oh, I have to do that, and my whole mission I've been in my career almost 27, 23, 28 years now, is just to bring joy and fun to it. And I teach spinning classes, and I'm teaching online classes at 8 a.m. on Zoom in the morning, abs, core, stretching, some movement, mindfulness, meditation, progressive relaxation during this pandemic. So that I can still connect but yes, my whole passion is really educating people about how amazing and miraculous one's body is. Because as I tell everybody, there's only one entity that carries us through our entire life, and that is our body. And we only get one. It's there from the first time we step into this lifetime until we cross over. And so educating people, helping them to have a new perspective and a more loving and harmonious relationship with one's body. And as a wellness heart coach, what I help people do is basically help them get connected to their hearts and move into alignment with their hearts, because I believe our heart is the true our guide in life to our health, our well-being, our fulfillment. But a lot of times we get caught up in our heads and thinking we have to do this, we have to do that, when our heart is calling us for other things.
Well, that's so beautiful. And just about the whole concept of exercise and making it enjoyable, I know that it can be tough, forcing yourself to go exercise, forcing yourself to exercise for reasons that don't make sense to you, because someone else told you to do it, because someone told you might not be healthy enough,
right? Or
maybe you don't look good enough in your own head, and so you're exercising for these reasons that might not be the highest and best for yourself. So it's really important, as you're doing your work, that people find their own joy in it, and how beautiful that you bring it in their awareness. And the exercise you teach isn't always so easy breezy. I mean, spinning is quite a feat. And so what I love to hear a little bit more, because I've got to talk to you one-on-one about this, but just your background and being an athlete, being really in it, and just always having that drive of an athlete's body, an athlete's mind. Can you give us a little bit of a history on your athletic journey?
Yes. Well, so as a kid, obviously, if I was riding horses like crazy when I was 5 years old already, I was naturally a very, athletic and rambunctious, kid that just wanted to play sports and wanted to be active all the time. And, growing up in the countryside in central Minnesota on a lake, amongst trees, there was just, and around my cousins, I mean, we were always playing sports in the pasture with the horses and the goats and all of that as our spectators, and they wanted to be participants at times. But so that's where that kind of started. And of course, through high school, I was in sports. I was in track, softball, basketball, believe it or not, was my my sport that I loved tremendously, even though I'm only like 5'2.5", 5'3" on a good day. But I was fast. Yes, I was fast and scrappy, and I was dribbling behind my back and between my legs in 8th grade already. And my basketball coach in high school, and those of the people around me, my friends and family, know that he was a very, very challenging human being in my life, and not just with me, but he was a tough coach. I think he could have coached. He had some better methods of coaching, but what I will say, the positives, is that he knew how to coach basketball, And he taught a lot of the principles of the athletic mind that I have taken through my life, that have gotten me through the challenges in my life, come directly from him. You know, the conditioning drills and all of that. And let me just say that my senior year, all through my high school career, we were one of the top basketball teams in the United States. I wish, in Minnesota, where I grew up. We were usually, my sophomore, junior, senior year, we were ranked 1, 2, or 3 throughout the whole entire season. My sophomore and junior year, we just missed going to the state tournament by losing by 1 point each year, my sophomore and junior year, which was devastating. High school girls, you know, so our senior year, it was like we were so determined that this is our last year to get that chance, and we did get to the state tournament. We got to the state championship game. It was a back and forth. We ended up losing by 3 points. But when people say, would you do it all again, even if the same outcome? Absolutely, because it was the thrill of a lifetime, and the stories but so my point is that, you know, my athletic career in high school, and especially in basketball, and with my coach, about really, one of the things he always talked about was mental toughness, that, you know, when it's getting down to the fourth quarter and a few minutes in the game, and if you're tired, physically tired, the thing that's going to get through is your mental toughness, you know, to stay composed. He was always like, keep your poise, keep your composure, stay with it, stay in the game, keep your head where it needs to be. And, you know, he just implemented that, pounded that so much into my head that it has carried me through in the challenging times of my life. Like, okay, it's tough, so well, then you get tougher, and you just keep focused. And this, of course, mentality also helped me through my cancer diagnosis, which we'll talk about in a second. But my athletic career continued after high school. I didn't play in college, but I focused more on academics. But I've continued my athletics through triathlons and century bike rides and marathons and various things. And I've done all kinds of sports, you know. It's just what I love to do.
Yeah, you really embody athletic. When I see you, it's like you really embody that space and that ability. And so, you know, talking about that, kind of going into what you've been through the last couple years, and going through, you know, what you've been through as an athlete, as someone who coaches people to feel healthy and fit in their body. Can you talk about, you know, what happens, and how you got through it, and, you know, where you're at now?
Sure. So one of the things that I do, so my business is called State of the Heart Fitness. State of the Heart, obviously, is not just about the physical heart, but the emotional and spiritual heart, because they're all interconnected. You know, as I said earlier, the physical body is just a reflection of, you know, what we are dealing with on an emotional and spiritual level. So, you know, I've always been a teacher of the miracle of the body and its power to heal, and that within every cell is the divine intelligence that knows exactly what to do to keep us in a state of balance and health and well-being. And if we are not experiencing that, if we're experiencing a state of dis-ease, whether it's on an emotional, spiritual level, or physical dis-ease or a physical ailment, that somewhere along the line we have gotten out of balance, and we have gotten out of connection with our heart and our soul. And so one of the things that I have done through my business, which I've had my business since 2001 now, is take groups to Peru for a really profound experience, the whole body, mind, spirit experience of trekking the Andes to Machu Picchu. And Peru is such a profoundly spiritual place. It's the reverence for Mother Earth is incredible. Anyway, I say that because last June I was taking a group. I had a group. We were trekking over 15,000-foot mountain passes, and 2 months later, in August, I was diagnosed with cancer. uh, at the August 8th, obviously will change my life, has changed my life forever. And you can imagine what a shock. Everybody who knew me had said, you of all people, you are the healthiest person I know. How on earth did you get cancer? And, you know, at first, that was the first thought I had myself. But knowing what I know about the body and the studying of, again, the emotional and spiritual connection to the physical connection, I knew that my body, cancer was not the cause, it was the symptom of something that was going on deeper within me that was out of balance. And so this all ties into what I first started talking about, my little miss. As soon as I was diagnosed, I dove into research along with my dear friends around me and family who, you know, a couple of my friends, Stacy and Jen, are dietitians, and they immediately were researching. And but understanding the emotional connection of dis-ease, I immediately went to Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life, because if anybody knows about Louise Hay, she was a pioneer in this field from the 70s, healed herself from cancer, and she's, you know, was the pioneer in the whole emotional connection to our physical ailments. And so I knew that this was an emotional dis-ease in me. And when I looked up cancer, one of the things relating to that was profound grief and sorrow. And what I also learned was that a lot of cancer is only about 10 to 20% caused by genetics. The rest of it is emotional stress, traumatic life events, and you know, and just stress will just deplete the immune system. And so the last 3 years, starting 3 years ago, May 29th, 2017, when my dear sweet miss crossed over.
And was her horse. This
Yeah,
was
Little Miss, yes.
Beloved. Little Miss. Yeah.
Little Miss was my horse. And that naturally shifted my whole world and grounding.
I remember that. I remember when that happened, and just even seeing you, you know, come to yoga class shortly after, and I just remember you kind of having this state of shock almost.
Yes.
And just kind of traveling
yes.
in this strange world, but still doing everything you were doing and helping other people. So
yes,
I can visualize you back then.
Here, I want to, for those who are joining on, this is who we're talking about, my sweet little girl. So yes, that was I mean, having her crossover, you know, and you can kind of think you can mentally prepare for the loss of somebody, such a beloved, but until you can't, you know, until you're going through it emotionally. And so, yeah, that in itself, and I said that Miss and I always described us that we started as two little tree saplings that grew together into this big tree. This was our lifetime together. And so when that was taken, that physical part was taken away. I mean, a part of me went with her naturally. And so that was obviously the biggest loss I've had in my life. But for whatever reason, in the following couple of years, I just had these successive losses. It was just like life was just stripping one thing and one thing after another. And I could just go on about, you know, and one of the things was that I lost my place of where I had my business for 17 years was at the Lowe's Santa Monica Beach Hotel. My company was, you know, we did all of the fitness services for the hotel guests and the local community, exercise classes, personal training, you know, meditations, you know, walking meditations on the beach, hikes, full moon hikes, which I still all do. But that was kind of our base. And a year ago in February, you know, we just got a month's notice that they were changing directions and they actually shut down the whole fitness center to everything. And so there was that huge loss. And there was just, like I said, there was just one thing after another. And so what I was seeing, and I always have said that the body will always give us, it'll start with little taps of when we're out of balance, Oh, our blood pressure's high. Oh, our blood sugar might be high. Oh, I'm starting to feel a little back pain. These are all little taps that our body's trying to communicate to us. And usually what do we do in our society? We just push through and we ignore. We ignore because that's what we're taught. And so a year and a half ago, I got shingles, which is a reflection of depressed immunity. And I think it was because of like the losses and the stresses that I was enduring. Um, it was depleting my immune system. And then, like 6 months later, my blood sugar was high when I got my annual, physical. I was actually pre-diabetic, which was like, what is going on here? Like, there's something not right. And but of course, I wasn't thinking in terms of the big C, but then in August, ovarian cancer. And so it just was a profound shock, but I knew that it was a symptom of something bigger, and it was the depleted immune system from the emotional stress, the grief, the sorrow. It just wore me down. And then, I was teaching a lot of spinning classes, 3 to 4 a week, which is high intensity. And, I'm a night owl. I was getting to bed too late. I was getting up for clients at 5:30 in the morning, not getting enough sleep. That's where we rest and repair ourselves, and I just kind of was eating on the go. So there was a lot of things that I was just pushing through, and cancer just finally said, stop. So as I say, the body gives us the little taps, and then it gets a little louder if we don't pay attention, and then it's the snap out of it, crack, slap across the face of like, I need your attention. Your body's saying, I need your attention now. Like, we need to do something about this. We are out of balance. We need to address this. And so that was my wake up call of and anyway, so
yeah, thank you for sharing that story. And just to kind of acknowledge the mindset of someone who is in the healthcare world and who's fit and who's driven to help other people receive a message like that can feel almost like wrong, like, and then the amount of people who were probably saying to you, what, you,
yes.
and all of that can even drive it in deeper. So, just sharing with us that as a person who modeled health,
yes,
and was having to go through this space of one of the scariest diagnoses to receive, must have been very shocking. And how, and I know you were telling me before we got on here a couple of days ago, just how much it took to surrender, and to let go and to allow other people to help you, because you've been helping everybody your whole life. And one of the things that you said to me, which just really, it really hit me, and I thought was so wise, that you talked a lot about the determined mind of an athlete, that you're kind of like born with this mind. And you talked about it earlier, that your coach really, helped you master that kind of mind, but that I have to think you were kind of born with it also, because I remember you telling me stories of walking out in the freezing cold as a 10-year-old girl, getting her horses, and just how much strength and determination that it took. So when you were talking about the determined mind that you have, and having to let go and surrender as you were healing, and letting doctors help you, and letting friends help you, letting people kind of dote on you a little bit, can you speak to that, and any also like any wisdom that you can share for others who are going through something like this?
I can certainly speak to that. First, let me just tell you that my mom always said that the day that I was born, and the first moment that the doctor put me in her arms, she said, "Oh my gosh, I saw in your eyes. I knew immediately." She says, "I knew this one wasn't going to be sitting around."
We know that still, Lisa.
Yeah.
Of you just like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, and the story you were referring to that I had shared with you, growing up in Minnesota in like January is like brutal, 40 below weather. And I mean, I remember, my dad waking me up at 3 a.m. saying the horses are out on the road. They got out of the fence, and you get out of the warmth and you go into the cold. Like, I mean, I was 10 or 11 years old. I mean, that was part of my responsibility, is like getting out in that cold and bringing them home. But at 3 a.m. Ugh. Anyway. So yeah, it builds a character, a strong character. But yes, so with cancer, I mean, needless to say, that day that I'll never forget that day, because I flipped back and forth from literally sobbing and wailing on the floor saying, I don't want to die. This is not, I have too much to do, to shifting and stepping into my strength and going, I got this. I am going to do this, to, oh my God, fear, death, to, I'm going to be okay. This is just, my body is just trying to tell me something, and it can heal. As I've always said, the body has the power to heal. The power that created the body is the power that can heal the body. We just have to give it the space. We have to tune in. We have to listen. What is my body trying to tell me? So to get through that, I had to go through a complete hysterectomy. August 22nd, complete hysterectomy, and I was in the hospital for a week. And they literally cut me, probably like an 8-inch vertical cut up my abdomen, because on the original PET scan, they thought it had gone metastatic and that it was on my liver and my lungs and all of this. And so they had to cut straight down and look at all of my organs to see what they could find. And I will say that there was a lot of miracles, because I immediately started. So I was diagnosed August 8th, and then August 22nd was my surgery. But from that moment on August 8th, and even before, because I was feeling distress in my stomach, I had called on a friend, Riley, who does this pure bioenergy healing work. And I was already starting the energy healing. And then when I was diagnosed, I was immediately going into the emotional, and I was changing my diet completely, more plant-based, all of that. And so I was already healing. So by the time they got to surgery 2 weeks after my diagnosis and they cut me, the surgeon said it was the best possible outcome. It was just I had a tumor on my ovary, but everything else was clean, and they took biopsies. So there were already miracles that were happening. And I'll tell everybody that I healed naturally. I did not do chemo. I was close to doing it, but through acupuncture and through diet and through deep emotional and spiritual work and meditation and Kundalini yoga and walking, all of that brought my body back to balance. But let me tell you, in the hospital, that week in the hospital was the most challenging week of my entire life, because here was my strong body that I could lean into my entire life. My body could do anything. I always felt strong. And here I was, it literally, I knew I had to get up and walk every day, at least a few times a day. But my body felt so foreign to me. It literally felt like all of my insides were just going to fall out. And it was, to hold on to my mom and my dad, or all of my friends who were there as support system. I mean, even the nurses were like, geez, you have this huge support system, my family and friends, and I could not do it without them. But there were times, I mean, that athlete's mind of, you got to get up and walk. Movement equals life. Movement is what brings nourishment. Movement is what heals. Even though I was feeling so foreign in my body, like it just, and there were times, I mean, my mental toughness, I mean, talk about having to put that into practice, but then you even get to an edge where even that isn't enough. And that's where I had to surrender to God, the universe. There were several times in that place of darkness where I was just like, God, I need help. and I need help now. I don't know where to go from here. Like I am at that edge, and I've done all I can with my mental capacity, with my physical capacity. I need your help. And so I there are so many factors that helped me to come back to a place of balance and health and well-being, from the support from my friends and my family, to the food that nourished me, to the meditation, the mental, literally visualizing any dis-ease in my body leaving, with the breath. And acupuncture, my acupuncturist, Atsuki Maeda, is just, he was one of the lights in my fog that was kept saying, your body will heal from this. It's just we were in a place of dis-ease. We just need to get it back into a place of ease. And him and my friend, who's also a chiropractor, energy worker, Dr. Alice Grove and El Segundo, these were the people that were my pillars, my strength, in addition to whatever I could glean from myself and God at that time. So I'm just
Wow.
profoundly grateful. And
Yeah.
within 3 months, all of my numbers had gone back to normal, and blood work. And every day I'm due for a blood work and a scan in June. Actually, it was supposed to be in April, but so we're putting it off until June. But yeah, I feel great.
An amazing journey. And just for all those people out there listening, some people do go through chemo and radiation and come out feeling healthy too. And everyone has their own journey.
Yes.
But I really love your message of, it's the internal work. It's
Yes.
the internal work.
Yes.
It's the internal, no matter what form of healing you decide to
Yes.
go down, that all the dis-ease
Yes.
is the tap on the shoulder.
Yes.
And what an opportunity to heal on such a deep level. And it sounds like you really experienced another depth of the human body, the human life.
Like I can't even tell you. I mean, my message always was the body's a miracle, and it can heal. But nothing like a good old cancer diagnosis to say, is that what you really believe? Because Here you go. Let's see where we're going here. And that's what I want to say too, is, it's such a personal journey. Like I'm not here to tell anybody how, God forbid, they get diagnosed with cancer. I'm not here to tell anybody how they need to do it. What I will say is tune into your body. Your body will guide you. Your spirit will guide you. I did have a doctor down in Irvine, the Cancer Center for Healing, who takes a very holistic approach. And also my naturopathic oncologist up in the Santa Barbara area, Dr. Heidi Lucas. They both agreed that you have to find the treatment that you're going to be most at peace with, and it doesn't matter what it is. If chemo is going to bring you peace, then you go with that. But your body's not going to heal if you're in resistance to what, I had to go with what felt right to me. And this was my journey. And yes, it was a risk. I mean, what do we hear? We hear cancer, chemo. It's like synonymous. And I mean, I had that in my face constantly, and I just kept asking for some time. I just wanted to see what I could do in my own work. And my body's an amazing warrior. It responded. And as I was telling you the other day, I mean, the biggest message that I'm coming away with now is that to not be afraid, easier said than done, but that your body, any dis-ease, again, emotional, spiritual, or physical dis-ease, is simply your body's invitation and opportunity to learn to love yourself and your body more, to develop a more harmonious, loving relationship with yourself. That's all it is. That's all it is.
That's such a beautiful message for what's going on right now.
Yes.
And all the things you've been through, and to come to this beautiful message of it's an opportunity to love deeper and understand yourself and your humanity. And, you know, just even if somebody's going through a hard time mentally and their bodies are totally fine, you know, it's another invitation to work through something. And so, you know, with that said, how has, you know, meditation and Kundalini yoga and just like different practices, how have they helped you, and have you noticed yourself kind of leaning more on those practices since you were diagnosed and kind of worked through the healing?
Yes. Meditation, absolutely key. Bringing ourselves out of the fear mind, the survival brain, the amygdala, to the elevated mind and the neocortex is a, you know, that's what meditation is. And I knew that my body wasn't going to heal in fear. The body can't heal in fear. When we are in fear, we are in a state of chronic stress. You know, our adrenal glands are constantly secreting cortisol, and that actually breaks down our immune system. It breaks down the body. So I knew that to heal, I had to be in a place of peace and joy. And, you know, you try doing that when you're facing cancer and you're facing death and fear, you know. So meditation was the absolute key in every moment. And you know, listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza, just about the power of the mind to stay present, to stay in a place of joy, like wherever we put our thought, whether we put our thought on something that scares us or we put a thought on something that brings us joy, put your thought on the thing that brings you joy, because the vibration that comes from joy and the secretion of the neurochemicals that are secreted from the brain in a state of joy versus fear, it makes the difference of healing or not healing. And so meditation and Kundalini yoga, you know, the chanting, the, you know, just the whole spiritual component of Kundalini was just so, you know, it continues to be such a nourishing way of therapy, you know. But yes, meditation, and then just simply walking and breathing, you know, I teach, one of the things that I teach is meditation, and also, again, bringing the mind and the body together through the breath, you know, that the breath is the most powerful healer that we have, you know, diaphragmatic breathing deep to stimulate the parasympathetic part of the nervous system instead of the stress response, the sympathetic. So breathing, meditation, Kundalini, and walking. You know, walking can be I always say it's a moving meditation. You know, it all depends on where you put your mind when you're doing that. Lifting weights can be a meditation if that's where you have your mind. If you are mindful with what you're doing, connecting with your body, that's what I say. It's like you don't have to be just sitting in you know, an easy pose and going om. We can be in a walking meditation. It all depends on where our awareness is. So
that's so true. And, you know, many teachers have also said, you know, meditate as you're cooking and cleaning and stay focused. And, you know, a lot of times when we're doing chores around the house, we're like wishing we didn't have to do that. We're like, ugh.
Right.
And it's, you know, why not like sink into it and let go? And it can be really enjoyable to scrub the floor, to scrub that pot.
Absolutely. It's all what we bring into it. What is the presence that we bring into that? You know, there's a great book called Peace is Every Step by Thich Nhat Hanh.
Oh, he's so beautiful. Yeah,
he is. And in that book, it's just all what you're saying. Like while you're washing the dishes, like just tune in and feel the water. And, you know, it all can be a meditation. And peace can come in every step, no matter what. I always tell people, you know, there is so much we have no control over. Like we have no control over how the world is going to go. But what we do have control over is who we are in relation to the world, and who do we want to be in relation to the world in this moment. And we do it one moment at a time, and we do it through the breath. And as I say, you know, where we put our mind, where we put our thoughts, that has an energy, that has a vibration. So let's tune into our heart, let's tune into the vibration of joy, and let's broadcast that out to the world. Like, we don't have to be a victim of what's happening unless we allow ourselves to go there and get, you know, frenetic. Let's invite the world into our place of peace, and we get to choose who we want to be, how we want to broadcast ourselves into the world. That's where the true empowerment comes from.
I love that. So with that said, can you take us through a short meditation?
Yes.
That you lead in? I think you called it heart-centered.
Yes.
Is it heart-centered meditating?
Yeah. Yeah.
And Lisa teaches this often in her classes, and I'd love for you to give us a little taste of what that feels like, and I hope everyone can join us into this meditation.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so wherever you are, and hopefully you're not in a car, because I'd like to have you close your eyes, but if you are in a car, you can still listen. But you want to just sit wherever you are, sit up tall with your eyes closed. So when we close our eyes, we just decrease the amount of stimulation to our brain, and it allows us to tune inward into our body. And with that, I want you to just relax your shoulders and bring your awareness to your breathing. And as you do that, just start to slow down your breath as you become very mindful of the breath as you breathe in through the nose, down deep into the lungs, and you feel the rib cage expand as you breathe in. And as you breathe back out slowly, just follow the breath back out through the nose. And as you continue to breathe slowly and deeply through the nose, down deep into the lungs, I just want you to become aware of how your body feels on the inhale versus the exhale. So we inhale, we breathe in new energy, and that energy and light touches every cell in our body. And as we exhale, we let go of any of the old energy, anything stuck in our mind, our emotions, or our body that we need to let go of, that doesn't belong in this moment. Just allow it to let it go on the exhale. So notice how your body feels on the inhale versus the exhale. So you inhale, new energy in, exhale, letting go of any tension in your face, your jaw, your neck, your shoulders, your back. And then on this next breath, I want you to take that breath deep into the heart space, into that calm, quiet place deep inside. It's the place of inner stillness, place of inner calm. It's a place that connects us to our soul, that connects us to the earth, that connects us to each other, that connects us to the divine. And I want you to visualize this place as like an inner sanctuary, like a little garden, a secret garden that's just yours, and the outside world cannot touch. And as you breathe into this heart space, into this sanctuary, I want you to breathe in some gratitude. Think of someone or something, or even your body and your heart that you're just grateful for. Let's breathe in that gratitude for our body, because it is such a miracle. And so often we don't pay attention to it in the way that we need to. Let's just really honor and love our body. Breathe in that gratitude through the heart space. So just imagine the breath coming in and out of your chest through the heart, and you're breathing in gratitude. And with each breath in, that gratitude expands, touching every cell, every tissue, every organ of that beautiful, amazing body of yours. And then let's breathe in some compassion through the heart space. Compassion for ourselves, compassion for our body, compassion for each other, compassion for this beautiful world that we live in, that oftentimes is just reflecting our fear. Let's breathe in compassion for everybody who makes up this world. We're all just trying to find our way home. And then let's breathe in through the heart space. Let's breathe in some joy, where you almost feel the urge to smile. Whether you think of somebody that you love, somebody that makes you laugh, an experience, a memory, something that brings you joy. So breathe in that joy through the heart space into every cell, tissue, organ of your body. And feel that frequency, that vibration as you breathe in that joy and you feel that peace. You breathe slowly and deeply and you feel empowered as you anchor in to that heart space. And I want you to remember that this is your truest state of being that lives deep within, no matter what's happening in the world around us. There is always this place that we can go to in any moment if we just allow ourselves to tune in and breathe. Take a couple more deep, heart-filled breaths as you anchor that frequency in. And then let's take this energy into the world and make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. Recognizing that when we heal our heart, we heal the world. Sat Nam.
Sat Nam. That was so beautiful. Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Ooh, now we're all spaced out.
We are. Woo.
Feeling good.
Yeah. I mean, isn't it amazing? Just a few minutes of breathing and heart-centered breathing, focused breathing, presence, allowing ourselves to have what this moment has to give us. It's a gift.
Yeah.
It's a true gift.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And it doesn't take very long. Yeah.
And it's free.
And it's free. That's right. So. Thank you so much for sharing your story and your wisdom with us today, and just inspiring all of us to, you know, touch base with our bodies and what's real for us and what feels good and doing what feels good. And Lisa teaches every morning at 8 a.m. on Facebook Live.
No, it's on Zoom. But I do
it's on Zoom.
Yeah, it's on Zoom. And so then I put the recordings onto YouTube. So my YouTube channel has all of my classes on there, and I post them every day.
And how can people find you?
You can just Google me, Lisa Brisse YouTube, or you can go to my website, which is stateoftheheartfitness.com, stateoftheheartfitness.com. And of course, I'm on Facebook and Instagram as well. So yeah, reach out if any of you have any questions, or if I can offer anything. Please, please, please. I'm here to serve. Ever since I was a little kid, I knew I was here to help the world in some way. So just stepping more and more into that. And cancer just took me to a whole other level. And I just want to say thank you, cancer.
I think that's important. Yeah, acknowledgement. And yeah, thank you so much for giving people who might be in the same space you were in a lift and a guide. And I know that you've spoken to a couple people that we've asked you to speak with on a personal level, and you're just so supportive to your community. And so we really honor that. And we all got to share our stories and be authentic. And when we're ready to, and you are ready to now. And I know that when you were going through it, it wasn't the moment to do that.
Right.
And now that you have been through it and and it's like your understanding of it, it's like you have this gift to share, and we really appreciate it, and we appreciate you.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate you and Onkar. I mean, you two are like gems like no other, so thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm honored.
Thank you so much, Lisa,
You're
and
welcome.
we hope to see you very, very soon.
You will, for sure. So thank you
right.
so much, Hari. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. We'll see you soon.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, bye, bye.